Hello, everybody, and greetings from New Zealand. I'm Mike from the Rewatch Project and ChinStroker versus Punter podcast. I'm a lifelong Star Trek and Star Wars fan watching Doctor Who properly for the first time. We watched the first episode on the previous episode, and we are now moving on to An Unearthly Part Two. Before we do that, just want to remind everybody that we appreciate comments on the YouTube channel. Also, check out the regular show, the Rewatch Project with Hannah and Mike, where we do rewatches of some of our favourite shows. But this is not a rewatch. This is a first time watch. I've never watched Doctor Who properly, certainly not all the way through, and certainly not these early episodes. I very much enjoyed the first episode, and I'm looking forward to getting on to episode 2. I appreciate feedback either at rewatchprojectpodcast@gmail.com, or alternatively, you can just leave comments on YouTube and I'll read those out. Speaking of which, I've already had a bit of feedback from the first episode, and as I'm watching this for the first time, I haven't the slightest idea really about Doctor Who beyond the broad stroke details. So I'm going to be asking a lot of dumb questions, and you, the kind listeners, are already furnishing me with helpful responses. So let's have a look at the first one of those. So Binro the Heretic 8174, apologies if I'm saying that incorrectly, said the original broadcast was the day after the JFK assassination, so all around it was rolling news. They repeated it before episode 2 the following Saturday, but it's the Daleks that really made the show. I think this is in response to my question about whether or not the show was an immediate phenomenon. It sounds like they got maybe a little bit of a false start initially due to that rather seismic historical event, quite understandable. And I do know that I think the second storyline coming up is the famed and iconic, dare I say it, Daleks, so looking forward to getting that. But for now, let's jump straight into the second episode of the original run of 1963 Doctor Who, starring William Hartnell, and this is An Unearthly Child Part 2. So let's watch this and see what's going on. It's worth mentioning, I mean, not only, I guess, is this an iconic theme tune, but musically, it's pretty ahead of the curve. I mean, it's quite techie, synthesized sound. I mean, there's a hint of the theremin, a little bit like the Star Trek theme, I guess, which was 3 years later. It should be worth pointing out. Doctor Who being, the first of the ongoing, long-running, evergreen science fiction franchises, although I don't think they use that term at that point. But yeah, it sounds amazing. Okay, here we go. It's where we left off last time. Okay, so we've got Neanderthal, cavemen territory here. Tell me a little bit about these writers, by the way. I'm curious to know what their backgrounds were. Were these just jobbing or staff writers for the BBC, or were these science fiction fans who were brought in for the show? I know nothing. Please educate me. Again, it blows my mind that these episodes were pretty much shot live.
Where is the fire Tsar makes?
So is this Earth? Bit of a power struggle.
Without meat, we go hungry. Without fire, we die.
Oh dear.
The leader is...
Very committed performance.
Where has the fire gone? Where?
I mean, these long takes, obviously, are pretty incredible. I mean, I'm guessing that a lot of the actors here came from theatre. I mentioned the theatre influences, but also radio, I guess. I mean, the BBC ultimately was born out of radio. So I think the ability to be able to perform live and just get it right is something that these people had. The Monolith in 2001. This would have been first, I think, wouldn't it? Just look that up. Yeah, 6 years before 2001.
Left 1963.
Oh, yes, undoubtedly. I'll be able to tell you where presently.
I love this design aesthetic.
Well, there you are. New world for you. Aren't you?
All right, show me some proof. Give me some concrete evidence.
Oh, he's scullying him hard.
I don't want to hurt you, but it's time to open the doors, Dr. Foreman.
Eh? Doctor Who? What are you talking about?
Doctor Who? He said the thing.
Yes, I know.
And
but
remember the difference.
in 63.
Again, the couple of things here. The expository device of the audience surrogate characters here. We've got these people with all their cynicism and their questions, asking questions for the 1963 TV audience. And also, again, how much is already here? We've got the theme tune, we've got the Doctor's otherworldliness, we've got the, like I said, the design aesthetic of the TARDIS, which looks like a kind of proto-Kubrickian thing. I mean, this is, like I say, this was 6 years before 2001: A Space Odyssey, and there's a real hard Kubrick vibe going on here. So yeah, pretty impressive.
That is quite correct. In another sky, would that satisfy you?
Yes.
Hartnell's great. Look at that. Delicious delivery of the dialogue. And it can't have been easy for him. I mean, at his age, a
See for yourself.
lot of the techno-babble must be challenging.
Well, I've no more time to...
A bit of a Land Before Time vibe going on here. George Powell, almost. So how come the doors don't look like that on the outside of the TARDIS? I don't get it. Is that a hand wave? Just hand wave that thing? I can do that. Grew up with Star Trek. I can hand wave. I love the way the TARDIS is at an angle.
Still a police box. Why hasn't it changed?
Oh,
Dear, dear. How very disturbing.
right. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. So presumably it's meant to camouflage itself into something that's, contemporaneous or relevant or appropriate for its environment. And it was only a police box because it was in 1963 England. So it was meant to be like a large rock or something here, and it doesn't do that anymore. So world building. I think there's some world building going on here. Watch out, Doctor. Don't get a lot of Ians in modern day pop culture.
Yes, a spinning column and a sedan chair. Disguising itself wherever it goes. Yes, that's right.
Oh, okay.
But it hasn't happened this time.
It's funny. This feels a little bit like Star Trek fan here, so I'm going to use a Star Trek analogy. The use of the transporters in Star Trek was really out of necessity. So I'm wondering whether this was just a budgetary thing, but it's actually resulted in the creation of something iconic. So I guess if that is the case, it would be a great example of necessity is the mother of invention. And sometimes now we have these wonderful virtual paintbrushes of computer technology. Maybe sometimes restrictions can actually be helpful to the creative process.
Where is he?
I was wrong, wasn't I?
Yes, you were, mate.
I don't understand it any more than you do.
Who is he? Doctor Who? Perhaps if we knew his name, we might have a clue to all this.
Look, Ian, the point is, feeling just...
I love how irritable Ian is. He's a teacher. He's used to knowing stuff. So having to surrender himself to being on the back foot must be difficult. But I love his delivery as well. He's very much a good day, sir. When he's annoyed. I said good day. Yeah, good energy. Like it. I was just having a smoke. Oh, fire. Getting the natives a bit excited with your technology, brother. Oh, the hysterical woman.
Ian, look! Don't worry. What's the matter?
I think she'd be a bit more resilient as being a traveller of time and space.
It's got nuts from everywhere we've been to. Something terrible happened to him.
Be a good publishing tie in that would. Has that ever been released? Curious to know.
What's on the other side?
Cave kids amusing themselves. Just could shake up the caveman power play that's afoot.
As lies come out of yours.
See, smoking kills. Poor Tsar. Everyone's on this guy's back.
Fire come from his fingers for you.
Politics. The politics of the caveman.
It was too much for him.
Come on, Tsar.
To sleep.
Defend yourself, mate.
Cal, we'll give you to the tiger.
It's a bit like modern politics, really, isn't it?
Hold
More things change, the more they stay the same.
his hands.
I guess science fiction as allegory is, or was alive and kicking in 1963.
Without fire.
Guys like the United Nations.
If this...
You don't have to be afraid of me.
It's useful that they all speak English.
How can an old man...
I am fireman.
Again, hand wave.
For me.
It's fine.
My matches, where are they?
Thank you now.
I have none.
Oh, you've lost your powers.
You all heard him say that there would be fire.
They're really committing to their platforms here, aren't they?
Tsar does not tell you lies.
Oh, the pendulum swung back to Tsar. I like the dithery physicality that Hartnell's got here. Again, very Peter Cushing. Titular Cave of Skulls. Doesn't sound like a nice place.
And always give you meat.
Yeah, she's made her mind up. The eerie wind sound in the background.
Before there was fire. Fire will kill us all in the end.
Oh, foreshadowing. Hey, it's interesting as well that with these long takes, because I mean, my understanding is that they most of the production was the post production that we would call it now, the editing and a lot of the effects were just done as they were shooting the episode. They were filming this like you would film an event. So there's a lot of pressure on the guest actors. I mean, if you do this long take and then you flub your line right at the end, that's a problem. So I'm just mindful of that when I see sequences like this where we move in on a guest actor. They must have just been sitting there thinking, Christ, don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. I'd love to know more about the production. If anybody knows, I guess, the mechanics of how they did this, I'd be really interested to hear about that. Oh, Ian.
All right. Been split open.
Oh dear. Forest of Fear. Great pulpy titles, these. Yeah, another fun episode. Really enjoying this. Could maybe have done with a little bit less of the caveman politics, spending maybe a bit too much time away from our chief protagonists. But again, I mean, I'm looking at this through 2024 eyes, and you have to look at this from the sort of era of the time, which is, coming out of radio, and those dialogue-heavy, stage-bound performances. But this is a lot of fun, and this is a great. I mean, these short episode times, 23, 24 minutes. I often talk on my other podcasts about how it's great to have a one-a-nighter episode. Like I used to really enjoy watching an episode of Twilight Zone just before going to bed, just as like kind of a nightcap. And these are great for that, just to sort of chip away at the show. So I'm looking forward to the next episode. Again, appreciate feedback at rewatchprojectpodcast@gmail.com. Also, check out the main show on there, the podcast that we do, where we do rewatches of some of our favourite TV shows and movie franchises. And also leave comments, and please like and subscribe and share the word about this, because we're going to continue working through all of the key episodes of Classic Who. So if you've got any suggestions for episodes that I should or shouldn't cover, please let me know. But really, I'm just going to keep on going for now and see how we do, and be fairly exhaustive in the ones that we cover, because I want to watch as much Doctor Who as possible and catch up with the rest of geekdom. So we'll speak to you soon, and I'll be back in the next couple of days with the next episode. So thank you, and see you soon.